Thank you, Claire. So for the past 3 years, I've been visiting Mr. Rua. Mr. Rua is the chief of a village in the remote north of Cambodia. And like most of his neighbors, he and his family have always been farming rice in a landscape that they share with some of the world's most endangered species. But unfortunately, many farmers here use pesticides in ways that harm their own health and the wildlife. I've learned that one reason for this is that it's difficult for them to access good information. Often they're dependent on slightly dodgy market traders, or they rely on their personal social networks, their relatives and their neighbors. You might think that people like Rua live in a small bubble, but in a way, all of us as people, we live in our own bubbles. Online or offline, our social networks, the people we talk to and interact with every day, shape what we learn, what we know, and what we do. So how should conservationists like myself, who want to help these farmers use pesticides more safely, how should we communicate so that we reach everybody in the landscape and so that they can trust and act on what we provide? Local officials and NGOs in this part of the world often use village meetings like this one to convey this kind of information. But do they reach everybody in these villages, and do farmers change their practices? After this event, which was about pesticide safety, Mr. Rua told me that he and his friends had been talking about the topic for weeks. But is that just in his bubble? I believe looking at the social networks of these farmers can help us communicate better. So I looked at the social networks of all the adults in this village, asking them who do they talk to, who do they spend time with, and that's what you see here. At this event, 40 adults attended in a village of about 400, the black dots. And using questionnaire surveys, we could see how information, how knowledge was passed on by word of mouth over the following 6 months. Watch this. So clearly information was being passed on and shared, but there was a limit to that spread. Some people simply didn't get the message. And some information was spread more than others. And did the farmers change their practices? And if so, which ones and why? Well, that's what I'm going to be looking at in my current research project. But for now, what's clear is that conservationists need to change the way they communicate to reach others and to make sure that information is trusted and acted on. For example, understanding the social networks, could we identify people who are widely trusted, who can help us to spread the message? So if you work in conservation or development, think about who your communications are reaching and who is being left out of the loop. Thank you very much.